Yeah. Does my voice sound clear?
Yeah, you're good. Like, does my voice sound clear? Does my voice sound clear?
Your voice sounds great.
For sure.
All right, brother. Well, you hit me up. You got a few topics that you want to discuss about. So I'd say let's just get right into it. Let's first talk about you and your interest in fashion. Let's talk about maybe what got you interested and what is it about fashion that you enjoy so much.
I think like fashion. I think fashion's like just it's like a lifestyle. I think for everybody. I think everybody has their own fashion. I think everybody likes to wear what they want to wear. Um, I think definitely in this age, um, what are we on Gen Z, millennials? I sound dumb for as fuck for asking this, but like we're like in Gen Z, right?
I'm not too sure what the specifics of that. I think people. I'm 24. You're 24 as well.
I'm 22, bro.
Oh, you're 22. I think I'm like very much borderline, but I think you probably would be Gen Z for sure. I might be too. I'm just not too sure.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I feel like with Gen Z, I feel like we're so much more like open and we're so much more like willing to take more risks as far as like fashion risks as far as I guess the total gender norms because I know like back in the 90s I guess females would dress like in baggy clothes and stuff like that, and I guess like now you got dudes like even rappers like wearing dresses and stuff like that, I guess. So I mean I guess it's whatever you feel like wearing.
Yeah, there's like a. It seems like there's a higher level of acceptance. Obviously, like you said, maybe more so within the community of Gen Z, but it seems like just overall there seems to be more acceptance amongst the culture. At least here, I would say in California, because I haven't lived anywhere else. So,
Yeah.
do you think the whole country, the whole world has become more accepting, or is it just more so California? What do you feel like?
To be honest with you, I think it's more so like California because I can't necessarily tell you because I've been in California all my life too, so
Yeah,
I can't necessarily like tell you like all the details and logistics of all of that unless I like Google some shit. But
yeah.
I mean, I would like to believe that a lot more people in this country are a lot more open with that type of stuff, but you know, there's like I don't have the evidence for that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if there is more acceptance around the world, it would probably have to do with social media and the internet. Because I feel like, for instance, for myself, um, I, you can go on the internet and pretty much find just about anybody doing anything, right? So, like, if you have an interest in something, you can probably find somebody else who has a similar interest in that same thing. And I feel like when you get to see other people doing what you like, it kind of gives you validation or maybe a level of comfort to know that it's okay to be the way you want to be, right?
Exactly. And I feel like with fashion is that like when you're able to like dress the way you want to dress and if you feel like you look good and stuff like that, it actually helps with your mental health as well because if you feel like you look great and you feel like your appearance is looking right and stuff like that, it helps you feel a lot better about yourself, helps you feel a lot more confident.
So I have a question for you. When you dress up, does it have to do with what other people are dressing up like? Do you dress up to impress other people? Do you dress up simply because you like to dress up because it's just your way of being creative and being playful? Like, what's your intent behind dressing up like in a fashionable way?
I mean, I would like to say like the stuff that I want to wear is more sort of like a street fashion, kind of sporty type of drip, if that makes sense. But like um I mean, I don't necessarily feel like I have like a sort of intent to dress up. I just like to wear what I want to wear,
Hmm.
and like whatever I think is cool, whatever I think is dope, I just want to wear it. And it just so happens that I think what I wear is fly. So
Are you sensitive to like if people be like, "Oh man, like I don't like what you're wearing." Like, do you feel sensitive to that, or does it not really phase you if someone doesn't like what you're wearing?
I mean, it used to phase me when I was like younger and stuff like that, but since like I'm an adult now, I low key just really don't care because I mean I know what I want to wear and stuff like that, and like I low key just don't give a fuck no more. I'm just like fuck it, like it's my drip.
This is kind of
Yeah.
more. This is kind of more over like a more overall question, not necessarily particular to fashion, but this was a question that I was contemplating to actually ask somebody else. But I'll just ask you just to see what you say. Um, what's the thing that most frequently aggravates you, and how do you work on improving that?
Like in general, like what aggravates me.
Yeah, just in general, what's the thing that kind of aggravates you like most often, and like what do you do to kind of help relieve that kind of anger or that frustration?
Um, I think to be honest, what sort of aggravates me is just people like telling me like I can't do something and stuff like that because of this, that, and the other. Like I don't like being like restricted like in general, and I feel like with COVID and stuff like that, I feel like the restrictions and stuff like aggravates me the most. Like
Yeah.
not because like it's not safe or anything, because I definitely do feel like I mean to be honest, personally, I do feel like there needs to be a lockdown and stuff to contain this COVID stuff, but just the thing about being restricted and stuff like that, and like my situation, being away from home and stuff like that, it gets pretty lonely, and it gets pretty kind of sad to the point where I just want to be free. Like I want to be safe, and I want to have everybody else be safe because of this COVID situation, but I just want to like my life to be back to normal and be able to do what I want to do. So I guess that aggravates me.
Okay. And what do you do to like work on that, or like what is it that kind of alleviates that kind of feeling of confinement or like pressure?
Um, just simply like what I'm doing now, just talking to a friend and stuff like that, and vibing with a friend. I think that's what's kind of also helped me. Um, also, taking care of my diet better, stuff like that. I actually stopped eating red meat for like the past couple of days, and I feel great. And exercising, definitely like being an athlete, definitely exercising also helps physically and mentally. So I just think keeping my mind busy and keeping myself busy by just having conversations with people you love and just taking care of yourself physically, I think helps alleviate all that stress.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm just curious, just because obviously, I got my degree in nutrition. You said you stopped eating red meat for like 2 days and that helped. Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Like, what made you even want to do that in the first place?
I'm not gonna lie, like, you know Chris, right? Like from the
Chris.
track team,
Yeah.
like Nigerian homie. But anyway, like I went to his house and like I went on the scale and like I wasn't liking what I was seeing. So let's just put it that way. But I was just sort of like I kind of noticed like whenever I eat red meat, like I kind of feel very very full, but like not in a good way. Like I feel very lethargic. I feel very lazy. So I decided, I'm gonna just stop for a few days and then I'm gonna just see like how I feel. And I definitely don't feel that like fullness like anymore like I used to. Like it's definitely like a weird feeling. It's definitely a different feeling, but I feel like it's a feeling in a good way, and I already see the differences in my body and in my mental state, and I also see, you know, just how just the differences of just like having like I guess a little bit more of a plant based diet than like just having like all like red meat and stuff like that and just bad shit like because
Okay.
I even read that. What's up?
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I even read that like in an article, I think that red meat like increases like anxiety and depression and stuff like that. And
Mm.
during these times, I do not need that right now.
Okay. And what did you supplement that red meat? Like, what kind of protein are you eating instead of getting that red meat?
um, just more of chicken and fish. Like I've been eating fish a lot, and I've been going to I guess like vegan grill places and just getting like I guess like fake like vegan chicken and stuff like that, like chicken sandwiches or whatever. Like those are really good, by the way. I'll send you some vegan like restaurants that you should go to when you're out here, or if you ever
Okay.
go out here, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'll just make one more comment regarding nutrition, and then we can move on to the next topic that I know you want to talk about. What I was gonna
got you.
say is something that I've learned about myself regarding my nutrition, which maybe could add value to the conversation that we're having, is that I've found that it's not so much, of course, what you eat is important. I'm not going to say that it's not, because it is important to get adequate protein, carbohydrates, fiber, micronutrients, minerals, fruits, vegetables, dairy products to get all your minerals. But something that I've found for myself is that the intent or the appreciation, the gratitude for when you eat the food that you eat has tremendous influence on the way that your body processes it, and also how mindful you are when you are eating. Because I found for myself that a lot of times I was eating because of emotion, or eating because I consciously thought that I needed to be eating more calories instead of just actually being in tune with my body. And like me just being more in tune with my body, and also being appreciative for even being able to have like a meal in front of me, like it's literally just changed the game. I'm not eating as much or as frequently because I've realized that I actually didn't need to be eating as much as I was. And then also when I do eat, I'm
Hmm.
extremely appreciative and aware of the kind of nutrients that I'm consuming, which I do think has been helping my mind and my body. So that's kind of my input regarding that. um my next thing, we can move on to the human rights. I know that was the other topic that you wanted to discuss, so just go ahead, let me know what do you want
Yeah.
to talk about, or what are you feeling about that?
Um, like it's crazy because I feel like I've been thinking a lot about like human rights and stuff like that. Not only in like in the beginning of the pandemic, but definitely like ever since like this election has passed, and I've sort of been kind of been thinking about like my major sociology and all the stuff I've learned in the sociology field, and just sort of like I'm kind of in a mood or in a sense to like where I want to help people like with their human rights and stuff like that, whether like it's their race, gender, or disabilities and stuff like that. Like I want to help like those people, you know, like have like the rights that they deserve and have them being treated fairly.
Okay.
Cause
Well,
like I'm all about like people being treated like fairly. I'm all about equity, like equality and equity.
okay, so from your knowledge and from your understanding of the situation, what do you think can be done to like hopefully improve the situation, or what are you looking to do to contribute towards what you want?
I'm definitely thinking about like doing like another major like when I graduate, like whether it's like in like rights policy or poli sci or shit even law. Um, just trying to like figure out like the right career path that can help me do that, and just like what are the qualifications I need to even do that, or if I need any qualifications to that at all. So this is like all new to me, so I'm just definitely trying to sort of do whatever I can to just be more educated on this type of stuff.
Okay. Well, who do you feel is like, obviously I know like the most talked about thing has been like the Black Lives Matters movement, but like cuz you said like you want to help with all people who are probably who are receiving discrimination or things of that sort. Along with black people, who else do you feel are often discriminated against in the United States?
I mean, of course, I think the LGBTQ community is definitely being discriminated. I definitely do feel like that people that um, were born like a certain like sex, like intersex, or because like by the way, there is a difference between gender and sex. Like gender is um, the identity that you identify with, and sex is the identity that you were born with. like for the example of like a Castor Semenya, um, who was born with XY chromosomes, and she's being discriminated against because the way that she was born. So that type of stuff.
And who is this person?
Castor, like I think she was like the 800-meter gold medalist for 2016, I believe. She's broken like a lot of like I believe records within like mid distance and stuff like that.
And so you're saying that or I don't want to even put a pro, or I don't know. I don't want to use it. What was her name again? So I could use her name.
Castor Semenya.
Yeah. So Castor, she was born with XY chromosomes, which would be a male, right? That's what biologically she would be, or
Like biologically, like she has like male genes, I believe. Like I still gotta get educated more on the
okay.
topic of hers, but
Yeah,
not necessarily.
I've heard about her. I'll just say her. I've heard about her, and like there's definitely like controversy whether she should be competing with women because of maybe her biological or physical advantages over other people who are gender female. And it's a weird place because it's like physically maybe she does have an advantage, but I totally support what she wants to identify herself as. But at the same time, it's like if she competes with other women who have XX chromosomes, I think naturally they would have a disadvantage against her, right?
Um, like if I'm being honest here, I think yes, it definitely would be a bit of an advantage. Um, like I don't necessarily want, but if I say that, then I low key feel like I sound sexist necessarily.
Yeah, but not necessarily because if you're talking objectively, like just what's objectively true, then it's nothing to do with the actual, being sexist. So, I mean, I think it's just scientific that somebody, because right,
Yeah,
if
scientific. Yeah.
yeah, because if as humans, I feel like I had a conversation with a guy called Hassan. He was on the podcast once, and we're talking about how all humans are on this spectrum of male and female. Like, it's not it's not like there's 100% male and there's 100% female. Like everybody is on the spectrum of being female and male, and most it seems like most humans are primarily male or female, but there's some people who are born who are literally like towards the center, but everybody's kind of a mixture of both male and female because we both share the same hormones. Like males have estrogen and females have testosterone. The only thing that makes you more female or more male is the fact that you have more or less of a particular hormone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of
So you're saying
it's
it's
an
like more
interesting
of like an
place.
identity, like, or is it more of like what they have more? Because like you can, because it's easy to. I mean, I think nowadays like you can. There's like estrogen pills, I think testosterone pills and stuff like that that people will take, especially if you identify as a transgender and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely can see what you're saying when it comes to that. That like I guess gender is more of like what you personally identify as, rather than like what you were born with, rather than like sex is, like I said before, is like what you're born with, like biologically.
Yeah. So like I mean I'd have to go back into biology and learn about the chromosomes and stuff. So obviously when you have a male and a female, it seems like there's a difference where it's XX or it's XY. But in other metrics of measurement like hormones, like there's no perfect male, perfect female. Like that's just what I'm trying to get at. And I feel like we have these terms of
Mm-hmm.
male and female, so we think it's like completely defined. But I think just like anything in the universe, like it's usually always a blend. It's very rare to
Yeah,
find things that are just 100% pure, right? Because then in that sense it would be like a perfection, which I think there's like, there's not really anything that exists like that. It seems like, unless you're
yeah,
considering the idea of God, which I guess people would maybe consider to be a perfection, but I don't know. Depends on your perspective on that too.
that's another topic for another day.
All right. So what was there was a third topic you want to talk about, right?
Um,
I think you
just
mentioned
definitely,
politics.
yeah, politics. Yeah, hell yeah, politics. I just know with politics, especially with this election, I've noticed is that it changes like a lot of people's relationships. Like whatever you like view politically or religiously, it's definitely gonna like affect like that relationship with friends and family members and like certain peers and stuff like that of your race or your gender. So I just know that it's definitely like politics could be a touchy subject, but at the same time, it's important.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I've noticed and the way I feel right now at this moment is that the thing, because politics and politics, I'd have to look up the exact definition, but from my understanding, is basically creating legislation through like a democratical process, right? Hopefully that's the right word. Isn't that what politics pretty much is? It's like
Like a
legislating and creating.
democracy.
Yeah, isn't politics based on like a democracy?
I mean, I think American politics is based on a democracy, I believe. Because I mean, like a lot of because there's some people. I mean, there's some countries that believe in communism, socialism, like authoritarianship. So it just depends on like where you are, I
All right,
believe.
so like watch, I just googled the definition of politics and it says the activities associated with the governance of a country or other area, especially the debate or conflict among individuals or parties having or hoping to achieve power. So it's just pretty much politics is the idea of, yeah, it's kind of like the legislation which governs the way that things are facilitated within a group, or in this case, it's a country or an area. But like, so like, I don't know, I don't even really like that term because then it says especially the debate or conflict among individuals or parties. Like, I think the idea of even having different parties kind of creates conflict because if we were to just kind
Really
of,
does.
yeah, because if we were to forget like the idea of Democratic and Republican, like I think it would take away the emotion because people want to prove that their side is right. People want to prove that what they're saying is right. And it's like people get caught up in the emotion and then through emotion you lose that logical part of your mind. And then someone else may have a fair point that in other settings you might understand and agree with or find some value, but because you're so caught up in your emotion, you're just closed ears to whenever somebody says something that would contradict anything that has to do with your party, you know?
Yeah, and I definitely do believe that with that type of politics and stuff like that, that's the stuff that could basically end people's lives, whether it's suicide or like violence towards like one another. So like, because I was talking to my friend about this the other day, and it was just sort of like, okay, so if there's people that believe in one way, and there's people in this country that live in that view this country in another way, why don't we just separate the country? We just like sort of separate and just like leave each other alone. That's
Um,
okay.
yeah, I mean it's an idea, but I mean, like I'm guessing people don't necessarily want it. I mean, if we were to literally separate like Democratic and Republican and everybody separates, the people who like, let's just say people who like Trump go in one direction, people who like Biden or democracy in the other direction, or Democrat, like I think people would, if people were to actually separate like that, let's just create a hypothetical where everybody's separated like literally, I think people would then realize like fuck, like maybe we should be open-minded to our differences because like I love my aunt, or I miss my uncle, I miss my cousin, I miss, because everybody, I'm hoping, or I'm not hoping, I'm assuming that most people within their family have people who lean to one side and they have people who lean to the other side, but ultimately, like you love your cousin, you love your family. So like if let's say in a hypothetical place where we did have to separate, like you'd probably come to the realization like what the fuck? Like let's find some middle ground.